This might be what the problem is. Helps to plug things in. Hope you're having a good Monday because it's been interesting. I went through and I was having some technical difficulties and wondering what's going on here. It helps to plug things in, like the microphone cable. Not exactly, but you know what I mean. Happy Monday, everybody. Hope you had a great weekend. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer, but I am here talking to you so I can answer your traffic and police questions because I know there's people out there who want to know stuff, want to avoid problems, not get into trouble, not get into collisions. Now, I can't prevent all collisions, but I can give you some great advice as to how to do things right. That's what I'm here for. So, good morning to Steve and Sale CNC and let's see here, Mahmoud and Big Stevie. Good morning. Saba says just popped in, so acknowledging those folks. I'm gonna put an hour. Let's see here. What do we got here? Fault scene. There we go. Going to put an hour on the clock because that's the time I got, and then we'll get into stuff and things. I didn't get stats as to what happened this weekend, but I can imagine that we had a number of people who were arrested for impaired operation over the weekend. Why? Well, it happens all year round, but over the holidays, as people start celebrating, those numbers tend to go up just a wee tad. People who want to get into the holiday spirit, and then they make some pretty poor decisions and get behind the wheel of a car or anything that is a motor vehicle, car, truck. Yeah, oddly enough, motorcycles too. Yeah, bad decisions. So if you're going to drive sober, no drugs, no alcohol. That's really the answer. And then you're already so much further ahead than everybody else. You're set to have a Merry Christmas. We got Danny who says good morning. Sean who joined. Who's Sean? Sean. Let's see here. Sean Gen X Sean. How's it going? And then we got Appy-san says hi, and he wants to know what my thoughts are on the bail system. You mean the one that lets everybody out to reoffend? Obviously, myself and every police officer, former, active, retired, everyone has a problem with the fact that bad guys and girls get out with a slap on the wrist and get to reoffend while they have freedom. So yeah, there's issues there. Let's see here. Danny has a question about, are studded tires allowed in Ontario? Well, Danny, I have a video that I posted a couple of videos ago that specifically addresses studded tires in Ontario. So if you're visiting from out of town, you have 30 days to be in the province with studded tires. And those there's obviously regulations for pretty much everywhere as to how long you can have studded tires on in your home province or state. Obviously, you have to follow those rules as well. But in the province for 30 days, and then when you go into Northern Ontario, if you're registered in Northern Ontario, you can have studded tires and you can drive anywhere in the province as long as you're registered there. But people don't realize or don't want to accept that studded tires do damage the roadway. This is why they're illegal. People say, I've had them my whole life. They're great. I'm like, they may be great. They still damage the roadway. So we don't really want them in Southern Ontario. There's no real need for them in Southern Ontario. And yeah, use them if you need them where you are. You're allowed to travel as long as you're registered. Some people say, well, I work in Northern Ontario, but I live in Southern Ontario. Can I have them? Apparently not. Mind you, if you have a business in the vehicle is a business vehicle and the business is registered to Northern Ontario, then you can. Like, it's somewhat silly. Like, you have a legitimate need, then you should have them. But the law says no, unless you are registered where you got to be registered. Let's see here. Chat doesn't seem to be on, so let's figure out what's going on with chat. Try and fix things up. We talked about that. Cree says, Cree 316 says, hi, Sean Shapiro. Can you have 3 passenger and use the HOV lane? So if you're talking about the 400 series, HOV lane is specifically allowing people who have 2 or more passengers. It's the driver plus a passenger. So 3 would be better than 2, and 2 is a requirement. Now, there are also some things where you have other like there's pay for, or actually, maybe that's only for running solo. As far as I know, every HOV lane allows you in if you have 2 or more. But that's not to be confused with the diamond multi-use lanes in cities and in municipalities like Toronto. We have lanes that are diamond lanes. That's a bus lane. It's a 3+ passenger lane. It's a motorcycle lane. It's not just an HOV like the 400 series highway. So you need to be aware of that. Okay, things are starting to work now. Hit a button and magic. We got Bernie who jumped in from LinkedIn and says, "Good morning, Sean. Spent a number of years as a radio traffic reporter in New York City and working in the transportation field. Thank you for your thank you for your work educating the public." Well, thank you very much, Bernie. There you go. 3 up on screen there. We've got Big Smoke okay. Big Smoke talks about Danny, Northern Ontario only, but allowed to go south. There we go. Okay, Ashley, how you doing? Morning. Hope you're enjoying retirement. Yes, and I've got my morning coffee too. I've yet to have a sip of it, but it is here and caffeine good. I did have a sip of my kid's tea. I wanted to make sure it was not too hot. That was the only thing I had before that. But yeah, retirement is good. Retirement isn't retirement in its regular sense. I did leave the Toronto Police. I am no longer a police officer. I chose to retire from policing, but now I'm getting into other stuff. And retirement is being busy because I'm not hanging around watching grass grow. Although one day I will, I'm sure. That's not it yet. But life is good. Thanks for asking. Okay, we got. Oh, what? Hold on a second. Let's follow up with Cree. Cree got a ticket for having 4 people in my car and used the HOV lane because someone did not let me in. I don't think you got a ticket for using the for the HOV lane based on number of passengers. I think you may have received a ticket for crossing the 2 solid lines with the diagonal hash mark, which is regulated by signs that are posted saying you shall not do that. I'm assuming that's what you did to get a ticket, not a number of passenger situation, because you could have a full vehicle as long as you have 2 or more passengers, being driver plus 1, or your vehicle full and lawfully full, being that you have no more people in the vehicle than you have seatbelts and seats, then you shouldn't have any ticket. That doesn't make sense. So I think there might be a failure to communicate. I think we have here. I think that they may not have explained themselves properly to you, or you didn't pick up what they were putting down. Either way, sorry they got a ticket. Tickets suck. But they do tend to remind us what not to do next time. Hey, if you're watching on TikTok, do me a favor. Please hit that screen until your fingers go numb. I mean that in the nicest of ways. If you are tapping, hey, look, I can actually demonstrate this. If you're tapping the screen, you send hearts. If you send hearts, you tell the world that you love us. And then, yes, tap, tap, tap. You tap and... I'm tapping right now. The algorithm then identifies the stream and says more people should come to the party. Now, you can also ask us questions there. Share it. You can share it with your friends. Nothing is better than an actual referral. An endorsement is good. But we're on a bunch of different platforms. So wherever you're watching, please like, follow, subscribe, share. It's all that good stuff. All right, let's see what we got here in the Instagram world. Just Ryan, good morning to you. Just Ryan is a friend of mine, and we're going to be at the auto show. We're going to be at the motorcycle show in January, so you should come visit us. I'll have more of that posted on social media. If you don't follow me already on X and all the other platforms, you can go to trafficcop.ca, and I will be posting stuff on all the social media links that are referenced in that link tree. You can go to Linktree and then follow me on X, follow me on Instagram, wherever you want to follow. We'd be happy to have you. Okay. Question from Mahmoud, who says, why don't the police stop more vehicles with multiple rear lights out on a single bulb brake light so unsafe? Okay. So why don't we stop more people who have multiple rear lights out or a single bulb brake light so unsafe? It is a serious issue in that if you're down to 1, that means you're close to none, and someone should probably let you know, because that driver likely didn't do a circle check, and circle checks are actually really good. So why don't they stop everyone they see? Well, first of all, legally, you only need 1 brake light. You need 2 headlights and 1 brake light, and that is legal for the road. Not for certification, but legal for the road. And, if you have it on the road and you're legal, we should be focusing on people who are illegal. But if we have time, stopping you to educate you and say, hey, you're down to 1, and then soon as none. But you know what? Police officers would love to stop everybody for everything, not because we want to give out a lot of tickets, but because we want to change bad behavior or dangerous behavior or risky behavior, whatever it is. If I can tell you now, like license plate covers, I would pull people over to say, hey, did you know you have a license plate cover and it's not legal, and the next person who pulls you over might give you a ticket? I didn't necessarily give everybody a ticket, but I educated. So stopping people isn't always going to result in a ticket. Now I don't stop anybody because I don't do traffic stuff because I'm no longer a police officer. But actually, the last 5 years of being a police officer, I wasn't on the road. So I wasn't able to do that wonderful stuff. Basharat says, Morning, Sean. Have a blessed day. Thank you very much, my friend. We have Peter John William who joined. We got Corinne Elizabeth who joined. Welcome, welcome. Okay, what do we got here? Another question from the same poster. Is the 407 less strictly policed in your opinion? I find it you can easily do 130 to 140 and pass without issue. Oh, pass a cops. You actually, so, that's hard to say. First of all, OPP is responsible for policing the 407. They're contracted by 407 to do it. And, are there enough police to stop everybody for everything? No. Maybe they're looking for the high flyers. Maybe they were looking down. Maybe they weren't engaged in enforcement when you passed by at a ridiculous speed that you should not be doing. 130 to 140, sadly, seems to be the average on the 400 series highways in areas outside of the cluster of traffic that is Toronto. So when I go up to Barrie on a regular basis, I am often passed by vehicles that are no doubt doing 130, 140. Yeah, because I'm doing 100 and passed like I'm not even moving. So there you go. Should there be more? Yes. Do we need more police officers in order to make that happen? Absolutely. All right, let's get back into stuff and things from other platforms like TikTok. Big Smoke 3 wants to know what my opinion is on the trucking industry lately, meaning so many inexperienced drivers. People who are taking out signs, leaving their dump truck booms up. Is it called a boom? The bed? The dumper? I don't know what the official name is, but it is a problem. We have lots of professional drivers who have been doing it forever, who are very safe. And there's a lot of people who are jumping into the industry and they're not safe or they're not experienced, some of whom have bought their driver's licenses. It is a problem. And those vehicles are super dangerous. I have the utmost respect for people who are willing to drive a big rig. I'm not. As a police officer in an emergent situation, I was capable of getting into anything and making it move legally. I would never want to do that. Now, Sergeant Campbell from Traffic Services Toronto Police loves this stuff. Would drive everything. In fact, his son just became a commercial trucker, and congratulations to him, by the way. But I would want nothing to do with that. So 100% I support the trucking industry and the people who make that magic happen, because they bring products to us. They are what keeps our cities moving in terms of stuff that we buy. Okay. Okay. Cree was giving me a comment about whether or not they crossed the line or how they. I'm not following how you got that ticket though. If you want to send me a picture of the ticket, I'd be really curious to know what you were actually charged for. You can go to trafficcop.ca and that will take you to my link tree, or you can just go to voiceovercop@gmail or send it to me there. I'd love to see a copy of your ticket. X out, I don't want your personal information, but you can send me the details. I'm really curious. A lot of people asking me this. Can I wrap my car with Christmas lights for this holiday? So you can wrap your car with a Christmas print, but Christmas lights are not legal. Now, will every cop pull you over and give you a ticket for having Christmas lights? No, a lot of us are. A lot of people who wear badges are really supportive of the Christmas spirit. We like that time of year when everyone's smiling, happy with hot cocoa and marshmallows, and they care about their fellow human. So we appreciate. I certainly do. But is it legal? No. Can you have blinking red lights facing forward on a vehicle? No. Should you be able to blind people with super bright lights? No. Many people have been pulled over and cautioned for it, even though I don't think many people have been charged for it. So is it legal? No, it's not. Could you get away with doing something a little less? So if you had, the roof of your vehicle with Christmas lights, would it be illegal? Sure, it would. Inside your vehicle, on top of your vehicle, not blinking red lights, mind you. But it all depends on power. Could you reduce the power? Are there such things as dimmable Christmas lights? Because you had low power glowing lights that didn't flash. I would argue that those are legal. I mean, you have trucks that are driving around Toronto with screens on them. Screens are LEDs. LEDs are emitting multiple colors of light in order to create pictures. They're projecting light. Are they legal? Well, I start to ask questions. If you can't have RGB, red, blue, green, on your car in the form of Christmas lights, how do you have RGB being projected out in this form of signs? Anyway, getting into the nitty gritty of ridiculousness, but not legal. Your mileage may vary. Okay. CCL has a non-traffic related legal question. Oh, they actually have it here. Okay. Can public security cameras legally record audio? Can public security cameras legally record audio? So in Canada, I don't think it's state by state. I think it's Canada. We're a one party. We're a one party. What's the word I'm looking for? Consent. One party consent. So if I'm recording everything, if I'm not putting a bug there. I've got a camera there. Can it record audio? I don't think there's any reason why it couldn't. But I am not a legal scholar when it comes to recording in public. With telephone calls in Canada, as long as one person is aware that the phone call is being recorded, it's legal. In places like California, they have a two-party consent rule, which means both parties on the phone call have to be aware of the fact that it's being recorded. One of the coolest new things to come out on the iOS or Apple platform is audio recording, which was forever and ever and ever not permitted for the very reason that it wasn't legal in every place to have one-party consent. So now when you press that record button, it announces that the call is being recorded, and then that's, perfect. Which, by the way, if you do that when you call Rogers or any of the phone companies, I think they hang up. They don't like it. Record those phone calls. It's good for you. Okay. Especially when you've got someone calling you for to have your ducks cleaned, or you've got a package. I love those phone calls. In fact, I think I have to start recording all of those and publishing them. All right. So I really don't have a perfect answer for you. I don't think it's illegal to record outdoors if you're. It's not spy cameras. You've got clearly marked cameras. Why shouldn't you be able to record them? But I could be wrong. Traffic stuff I know lots about. Other stuff, not so much. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer, and I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff, not so much about cameras recording, but I do have opinions, even if I don't know the answer. Okay. Richard, my friend, says, winter storm in Thunder Bay, urban schools and urban school buses are still running. Traffic is messy. A lot of cancellations in Ontario, or in Southern Ontario, like in Toronto area, GTA area. So if Thunder Bay is still having buses go, power to you. That's great. If you've got an actual storm, we have, it's raining and we're canceling school buses. So whatever. We got here zone 2 all day. Let's see here. No statute of limitations in Canada. Let me see what we're talking about, though. Stand by. No. I want to know what they're talking about. Is DOLA dog owners' liability in Ontario? What is DOLA? Because that's the question. Because their question is, what is the statute of limitations under DOLA? But I'm not familiar with DOLA. And CCL comes in and says there's no statute of limitations in Canada. Well, it depends on the charge. So, but what is DOLA? Like for instance, with traffic violations, 6 months for most of them. For insurance, 3 years. Like there are limitations depending on the charge. Murder, never. SA, never. No limitations there. So it really depends. Okay, PP says, I got an improper muffler ticket, but the car exhaust is factory. I was just driving in a tunnel. So that's an interesting thing. Did you get an improper muffler ticket, or did you get an unnecessary noise ticket? Because improper muffler suggests that there is in fact something improper about it. You go to your mechanic and you get them to sign off that it's accurate and it's being inspected and they're willing to put their name on it. Then you would likely beat that it is improper if it's still the stock manufacturer stuff that it was intended to be and was approved to be in the country with. If you're talking about a charge of unnecessary noise, or they're suggesting that the muffler was improper due to damage, it depends on what their evidence is. If it's not working the way it's supposed to, if it's not muffling, well, it's possible that they might be able to explain that. I like to know the feedback on the other end, whether or not you get a conviction or not. But there are a lot of vehicles that come out of the factory that could be very loud if you hammer the gas and not too loud if you don't. And it's the way you drive the vehicle that gets the majority of people tickets, not the actual product or equipment. Okay, let's see what we got here. Another kitchen blog says, "You're the GOAT, Sean." Thank you very much. Greatest of all time, possibly the best acronym of all. Unless you actually mean I'm the GOAT, like a goat, and that's different. But I don't think that's what they mean. Okay, so they've got a scenario for me. Let's take this one off the screen before we do that. come back to Richard in a moment. Actually, I can say Richard says, good morning. Good morning to you back. Okay. Then I got a question from Cree in a second. So first car swerves into my lane, no shoulder. I swerve into oncoming traffic lane to dodge car. First car corrects its initial mistake and goes back into lane. We collide under 40 kilometers. Who's at fault? Aha. Car number one swerves into, I want to read this again. Car number one swerves into my lane and I swerve into oncoming traffic. Dodge the car. First car corrects its initial mistake and goes back into lane. We collide under 40 kilometers an hour. So what I'm not picking up, Kitchen Blog, is that are you didn't hit oncoming traffic. You went back into your lane after swerving into oncoming traffic, and you've collided with the car that swerved in front of you. Am I picking up what you're putting down? Because I'm not sure that I am. But the deal is that if you are in your lane and someone swerves into your lane and it causes collision, they are the catalyst for it. If you would have not moved and they just swerved in and cut you off and hit you, well, they would have been responsible 100%. Now, they've entered your lane and you've now swerved back in and hit them. Is that what you're saying? Let me know. Let's circle back. The Coffee Cop joined. How you doing? Long time no see. The best name I've seen so far, Smelly Boy's mom. I don't know how Smelly Boy feels about mom posting up a username like that, but I can't unpack that right now. Okay. Yeah, another kitchen blog. Let me know if I'm picking up what you were saying, but let's go on to Cree's question. I'll come back to you. Okay. So how many minutes is the response time for OPP to catch a driver being reported? I have no idea. Response time is a funny thing because it's not just police cars are not waiting at the ready for you to say go, and then the stopwatch goes. It is very much a mix of many things. In that, are they occupied? Is there more than one car available? What is that particular vehicle that's occupied doing? Are they stopping someone for something else? Are they helping somebody with an overturned vehicle at the side of the road? Is there a baby who's not breathing? There are priority calls that will occupy an officer's time, and you may call and say there's a dangerous driver, and they may say that's tough. They're not coming, or it's going to be 40 minutes, and they're not going to catch them. So response time is very funny because we need more cops. We need more cops on the road everywhere in Canada, everywhere in the States. Cops are understaffed, or police agencies are understaffed, and it's a problem. Shady776 says, I saw a police officer on a red light on their laptop, how to report it so they can get a ticket. Well, you can report it all you like, but they're not getting a ticket because police officers, fire fighters, ambulance paramedics, they are lawfully able to use their laptops, their cell phones, their two-way radios in the active duty that they are performing. If they're working in a police, fire, ambulance, or paramedic vehicle, they're perfectly exempt from that law. So it may upset people who wish that they too could use their stuff while driving or while at red lights, whichever way you take it, but it's legal. So, yeah. Moody says, is it illegal to drive an ex-cop car? It is not illegal to buy a retired police vehicle, as long as it doesn't say police all over it, and that you're not using lights and sirens, because you can't have those in the vehicle. You can't actually have a siren installed in a vehicle, but it's not illegal to own the car. I used to have it was like an 80s or 90s Caprice Classic that was a former police car. It was a great winter beater when I was riding motorcycle and all summer, and didn't care what I rode in the winter. So not illegal. But remember that when you're driving one of those vehicles, people may think you're a police officer. And if they think you're a police officer and they don't like police officers, they do the darndest things. You have people who have pew-pews who have been known to shoot at cars. Like, just bad things happen. So you may not want to be in a car that looks like a police car. That's another story. Shaggy says, just stop to say good morning. Sean, continue to do good, okay? Thanks, Shaggy. Appreciate it. Okay, Aru. Are police allowed to open a car safe in your car without a warrant at a traffic stop? A car safe? You need to give me some more information. Are they allowed to search your vehicle subject to an arrest? Are they allowed to search your vehicle as an inventory search? Are they allowed to search your vehicle after they've seen open alcohol or drugs, or like, you got to give me more. Like, just, there's different times they have different authorities. So there you go. Okay. We going back to another kitchen blog who says Queens Key Street, first car left a parking spot into oncoming. Left a parking spot into, so so this is break down the individual movement. Start from stop, not in safety, is probably what I'd go with there. I move out of lane to avoid, cross the yellow. First car free. First car realizes they're in the wrong lane and quickly shifts back. We collide. Um, okay, all hypothetical. I just stopped. Okay. I'm still not. I'm not seeing it. Parking lot. So they pulled out, and this is where I'm pretty sure I've got it. They've pulled out into your lane. You swerved out and swerved and then swerved back in. But I'm not sure what they did after they realized they realized they're in the wrong lane and shift back into the parking lane. How did you collide though? Like, they moved out. That's where I'm not understanding. And this might be just because it's more complicated. Do me a favor. Send me a drawing. You can actually send me a drawing to voiceovercop@gmail, or go to trafficcop.ca, and you can send me a message using the form, and I'll send it back to you. You can reply with a photo, because I'd love to. I really want to unpack this, but I'm not picking it up. I'm not getting it 100%, and I don't want to give you bad information. Kurt Lowe says good morning. Actually, no, they didn't. They just joined, and I'm saying hi to Kurt. How you doing? Okay, let's get back into other platforms. DJ Stevie Retro Master says good morning. Good morning to you. We got Retro Master. I'm a very retro guy, so I can appreciate retro tracks. And then you got, oh, hey, okay, here. So here, this is good. Rob B wants to try and chastise the police for saying, keep your fob at the front door. Toronto police are a damn joke. He doesn't realize how good the advice is here. And funny, someone recently mentioned this in a comment online in reference to jewelry store robberies, because they, these gangs of garbage kids who are going in and stealing from, people's jewelry and all sorts of other places in different malls, and they're just running and ransacking places. And someone said, oh, they should just leave their jewelry in display so people can grab them easier. What a ridiculous concept. But let's unpack it, since Raw B made mention. Leaving your fobs at the front door means leaving them in a place that is not hard to find. So if someone who is a bad person and is willing to break in and they're armed with pew-pews, they get into your house, they don't have to, pistol whip you out of bed in the middle of the night, or put a gun to your kid's head to motivate you to give up your keys. The keys are there. They take the stuff. They go away, because we're hoping that that's why they're there. If there's other stuff and things that they want from you, you're in big trouble, right? There's a bad person with a pew-pew in the home. That's dangerous. You're going to be affected by it. Your family's going to be affected by it. Worse can happen. This is the reality of life. However, the police made very good advice. They said, and it was not just the one officer who was lambasted on social media for saying it at a public event and caught on camera. It was actually the line from Toronto Police, and then somehow people got worried. But anyway, it is absolutely the best thing ever. You leave your keys by the front door, not outside. Dingleberries would think it's outside. There are far too many dingleberries who make comments online, but it is good advice. I leave my keys somewhere near the front door, because I don't need my family to be disrupted, our lives to be impacted if someone wants my piece of crap. Just saying. And by the way, it's not just Porsches and fancy stuff that get stolen. Any car is susceptible. Now, I still put my stuff in a Faraday bag, because if you're using relay theft, I don't want you taking my stuff. So I'm still taking steps to protect my property. I'm just not putting my family life at risk by hiding my keys. So I need someone to come in and talk to me. And Robbie is now annoying. Let's see where Robbie is. Hang on a second. Because when Robbie calls us the Gestapo, I don't think he understands just how offensive that is. Especially it's inaccurate. But anyway, hang on a sec. Let me find them so I can say goodbye to them. Here we go. Mute. Yeah, we'll mute them. I'll just block them. They don't need to come back here. They're being. I'm not being offensive. Moving by. What else did they say? Oh yeah, he was really. He went on to say a whole bunch of things and then yak. But I know I'm not saying what he wants me to say. Not a firefighter says, good morning, brother. Good morning to you. Reviewer for you says, good morning, Sean. Good morning to you. And question from Rock U65 says, why are people getting away with driving like they've never driven before? Where is the training? That's a very good question. There's a lot of people who get their license almost out of a Cracker Jack box. We've got the investigations and the news media who's gone in with the investigative reporting saying that there's a lot of people who are buying their licenses. They don't qualify for them. And then there's people who come from other countries that, whether they got them legitimately in their home country or not, take that license and trade it, like just trade for an Ontario license. So we don't know if they've ever been licensed legally there or what standard, but they're qualifying on a list and they get it. And then you've got people who are just not very good or don't drive very often. When I was a kid, driver's license was the most important thing you could possibly get. You turned 16, in my case, 9 a.m. that morning. I didn't go to school. I took the morning off, and my mom took me to get my learner's permit. It was called a 365 that time. And within 30 days, for 30 days, I drove everywhere. There was never a time that my parents' car moved that I wasn't behind the wheel. And then within 30 days, I had my G-class license because back then there was no graduated licensing. So why is that important? Well, it was important for me in the GTA to be able to have access to wheels because that's an important thing. You can't get around there was no effective TTC just on the outskirts of town. So if I wanted to get somewhere, I needed a car. Many people who grew up in the cities, in areas, that 15-minute city or whatever they're selling, you don't ever need to have a car. People in their 30s and 40s have never been licensed. So when they finally get their license, they're less experienced and have different, a different approach. So there's so many different reasons why it may be that they have less skills. For me, driving is life. It's the access to options. I could not have even become a police officer had I not had a full license. But then we have some people who are joining and don't have a full license when they join because they never needed it. It really could change your life. Anyway, I know you have your license. Let's move on. More training, good, by the way. Quick question. Last week you touched on Max. Can they legally ask for your driver's license? Oh, you're talking about Max Liquidators, the auction place. So they have a reason to ask for identification because they want to make sure you're the person who actually won the bid on the product, and that's their request. They're not demanding it. They could also say, you could say no, and they could say, well, I can't give you your product. You have to give me something with your address on it. So if you don't have a driver's license, you could say, well, I have an age of majority card. I have something else. But they can ask for it. You don't have to give it. And if you don't give it, they can also say, we're not giving you your products because we don't believe you're the person on the page, like on the account. I don't think it's a great idea to use a driver's license as that piece. I'd say, they should create a secret word. That would be better. But that's their policy, and it's perfectly legal. And if you don't like it, you don't have to shop with them. That's kind of the situation. Not to be rude. It's just that's what it is. What's your opinion of these cars driving around with full-size decals of machine guns and rifles? I am perplexed by these. I don't understand what that is saying. I honestly don't. Like I've tried Googling it. I don't know if it's a gang affiliation, if it's an obsession with firearms, if it's a religious. I don't know. I don't like it. I think it makes people feel uncomfortable, but it's not illegal. Having a picture or a silhouette of your favorite firearm isn't illegal. I don't think it's smart. I don't think it looks good, but it's not illegal. That's just my take on it. I wish I knew more. If someone knows what it actually means, please educate me. Not a firefighter says, can you talk for a bit about emergency scene safety? I almost got run over on Friday on an accident scene. They said, in spite of all the emergency lights and cones, an inattentive truck driver nearly hit me at 100 kilometers per hour. There is something called the slow down, move over law. It's in Ontario. It's in many other places. If you see police, fire, ambulance, or even active tow truck with its lights on, you are required to slow down and move over to an unoccupied lane to give them space. These people are working to save lives, get the roads cleared, and for your general safety. and they deserve to go home to their families too. So the problem is that it doesn't matter what you do as a police, fire, or ambulance or tow truck driver if the people on the road driving are impaired, are asleep, are distracted by toys in their vehicles, or even lost in thought. Driving has to be the focus of what you do when you're driving. That's what it is. You have to be a driver, not a passenger. You're not driving a Tesla on autopilot. You are the person responsible for everything that happens. Unfortunately, all too often, tragedy occurs, and the person who was responsible wasn't being responsible, and someone is unalived as a result. I cannot stand that I have to say terminology like that to avoid the auto restrictions of social media, but yeah, whatever. Does that cover it for you? Not a firefighter, or otherwise, if there's some area in particular you wanted me to touch on, because I would love that. I would love to hit the nail on the head if it's something in a different area you want me to go in. Martine LeBlanc says, "Have a good day." Have a good day to you too. Kat says or asks, "If a driver passes on a double line and causes a collision, are they at fault? I know they are allowed." Well, yes. And see, I auto edited accident to collision because there was no accident. If someone passed on a double line, there is, so very specifically in Ontario, it is not against the law to pass on a solid double yellow or white line. Not illegal. But whatever happens when you get to the other side of that line, whether it's an unsafe pass maneuver, whether it's oncoming traffic, whatever happens as a result of what you've done, you're not charged for crossing a line. You're charged for the specific thing you did. You know, if it was careless driving, so be it. You're charged with careless driving. So if you cause a collision and you had the wonderful hint of the lines on the road, or there was a curve coming up, and there's places where it's absolutely prohibited regardless of what the line says. It's just prohibited, like in a curve of road where you can't see. The line is the hint as to why you shouldn't do it, but ultimately making it turn where there's no visibility is illegal. So don't do that. So yeah, they're responsible for everything. Yes. Hope that helps, Kat. If not, let me know. We'll touch back on it. Okay. Captain Kurt was saying hey again, and another kitchen blog is going to send me that picture, which is awesome. And David Mailer, how you doing, brother? Okay, let's get back into these. Let's see here. Matei, I don't know if I'm saying that right. Matei says, "Have you ever run into a situation where someone can have a prescription for front window tint?" I'm sorry to say that there is no exemption in Ontario for window tint on the front windshield. Provinces elsewhere may. Definitely in the United States, you can have a prescription for front window tint. I've heard about it. I shouldn't say that for sure because I've never actually experienced it where I've seen a prescription, but people ask me about it all the time. And in the province of Ontario, there is no exemption. How do I know this? Because doctors don't determine exemptions. Legislation, the Ontario Highway Traffic Act has to state it in the law that there is an exemption possible. For instance, you don't need to wear a seatbelt. If you have a doctor's note that says you don't need to wear a seatbelt for medical reasons, some people have stuff going on inside of their bodies. Whatever the case may be, could cause more harm to have the seatbelt on than off. Doctors can issue that note. If the note is there, so be it. We will not charge for that. Or at very least, if you get charged for it because the officer questions the legitimacy of that note, then you can use that as a defense in court. But there is no such thing for tint. And there's a lot of reasons why tinted windshields aren't a good idea. And I'm supportive of the fact that it's illegal. If you need to reduce the amount of sunlight coming in because you have sensitive eyes, wear sunglasses, wear a face mask, wear all sorts of options, but don't tint the windshield. And the effect is going to be the same, except you can take it off. You can take sunglasses off at night. You cannot take the film off your windshield at night. And that's, I think, where the biggest problem is. Also, it prevents people from seeing inside the vehicle, which is a problem. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. If you would like to know more about what I do, you can go to trafficcop.ca. You can get links to my other social media. If you would like to ask questions, please do. That's what this is all about. We do this for another 22 minutes. I got a countdown timer on the screen, and then I'm going to start winding it up and getting ready to go because I have other stuff and things that I do. Now, in terms of what do we want to talk about right now? I guess we'll keep on going because there was something I was going to say that if you haven't already followed me, please do. And if you would be so kind on TikTok is to smash that screen until your fingers go numb. Got 7,000 likes right now. Let's see if we can get to like 10 or 12 or 15 or 100. I don't know. However many likes we can manage would be very much appreciated. Okay, Melanie Pico wants to know what are your plans for the holidays? Have a wonderful day. Well, thank you very much. Well, I just went to the most wonderful Christmas party that was hosted by my former sergeant, and that was amazing. It was a Grinch themed Christmas party, and it was magical to spend time with his family and his extended family. And my kids had a great time there, and I'm still full. There was a lot of food being served, and it was all magical. So thank you. In terms of the holidays, it's time with family. It's we're going to be doing we're doing a blended Christmas and Hanukkah celebration this year, as we do every year, and it's my favorite time of year. 100%. Hope you're having a wonderful holiday and Christmas time too. Gerald, what is this? More and more security gates are now asking to show driver's license or health card over camera. Is that legal? Security gates? What kind of gates are we talking about? So, asking for identification to allow entry to verify who you are before permitting access, I get it. Again, it's all. I used to work as a bouncer 100 years ago, and if I asked for your driver's license to let you in, that's to verify your ID. Could you say I don't want to show you my ID? And I would say sure, and you can't come in. So the agreement is you are either going to allow, like for instance, searching. You don't want to be patted down. That's a condition for us to let you in. You don't want to be patted down, no problem, but you can't come in. Can't make you get patted down. You have to allow it. But if you choose not to allow it, you just can't come in. It's part of that contract of whether or not you're getting entry. So I understand what you're saying. Is it legal? It's legal. It's what their condition is. Let's see here. Geo196555 says, Sean, see the guy who drives a snowplow? How does he get to work? You know what? I personally, I appreciate. I have a friend who I don't know if he still does, but he used to drive snowplow. I don't know. I assume he's just got good snow tires on, and he does just fine by taking it easy and driving. And he probably got up before the snow started falling. It's a really good question that I've never actually spent time thinking about. I prefer making my own tracks than being behind the rut and of other people. So maybe that's what it is. He gets up before the snow, but I don't know. Was there something we were going with this, or was it just being funny? Because it was funny. Okay. Ariane Ponte says, I got honked at for stopping at a stop sign. As a new driver, actions from other drivers like. You got cut off. I don't know what else you were talking about, but I can appreciate that other people being ignorant and trying to rush you makes it difficult as a new driver to get comfortable and learn and be comfortable on the road and do all the safe stuff. Don't let the bullies bully. You do your stops. You take your time. You go when you feel safe, and they can wait. And if they don't like it, it sounds like a they problem, not a you problem. You're not responsible for them having a good day. Screw them. You do what you know is safe and what you're comfortable doing. Cool? Cool. And then Mana buildup. We supposed to leave the keys at the front door. It is entirely up to you what you do with your keys. This is a car theft situation. It's about harm reduction, not theft reduction. Leaving your keys at the front door is all about having the bad persons have no reason to enter your home and assault you or your family to get the keys. They break into the house. They're obviously willing to do that. Keys are there. They take the keys. They take your car. You go. Now, it's not great to have your stuff stolen, but it is better than being beaten and robbed or threatened and tormented. It's bad enough your stuff's being taken. Why add physical harm to it? And you might be a tough person. Many people say they're tough people. Oh, if they got in, they never get up. Whatever. I hear it all. But you know what? If you have a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 10-year-old, a 15-year-old, that's going to change their life dramatically. And the therapy costs will probably be higher than that of the vehicle. So why not avoid that? Let them break in, or if they're going to break in, not let them break in. If they break in, let them have the keys. Say goodbye, because your family is the important part here. Cool? Cool. Have you ever gotten a traffic ticket from Glam 2025? I have. I was 16. I was newly licensed. Apparently, I ran a stop sign, and I was ticketed by a copper, also with the first name Sean. And oddly enough, I know him now, and he's with York Regional Police, and we're friends. But yeah, I got one ticket, I think on Highway 7 for speeding. I think I got 15 over. And I believe that covers the extent of my traffic ticket experience. And it was all when I was very young and very new and very stupid. And I'm less stupid now. I just don't do stupid stuff behind the wheel. I make a whole thing about driving safely. So I do. And then I don't get tickets. It would suck getting tickets, especially now. Why are modified cars getting targeted over cars that are literally falling apart while driving? I hear that argument a lot. Modified cars, if they're modified legally, don't get harassed or shouldn't be harassed because there's nothing illegal about them. If you're modifying your vehicle to be less safe or illegal, and usually modifications that are safe aren't illegal, it's unsafe modifications that are illegal. So you can have a really funky car that looks really cool and is totally illegal. You should be targeted because you're illegal. And if you have a car that is falling apart, it should also be targeted because it is also illegal. I imagine it is very much a situation where you believe that you're being targeted because you and your friends can all commiserate about being targeted. You probably don't hang out with people who have crap boxes that are falling apart and don't know what they deal with. You're just making an assumption that you're being victimized because of your cool car, when in truth you're being held accountable for your choices. And someone whose car is falling apart, well, they're also being held accountable for their choices or their inability to maintain their vehicle in safe operating order. But I can tell you that both occur on a regular basis. Both vehicles are stopped. Both vehicles are charged, or at least their owners are. What do you think of Tesla's self-driving taxi idea? AMA Milton. I'm a little concerned about the machines taking over. So I've watched Terminator. That was my bad dream as a kid. I don't know. I don't think the technology is there yet. I think the future holds great things. And I think when vehicles are truly autonomous, then a lot of the stupidity that we see on the roads will go away. I think roads will be a lot safer because of it. When the technology is at the appropriate level, I'm not sure that we're there yet. I might be wrong. I know people in the industry I've got to follow up with to find out where the cutting edge is. Now, I can't call up Elon, but I do know some people that work in universities that study and are on the leading edge of the autonomous vehicle sector. So, yeah, I think one day it'll be there, and I'm excited for the day that I can nap on the way to work or home or cross country, as opposed to being exhausted and know that if I fall asleep, I'm putting lives at risk, which means pulling off to the hotel and sleeping, where you could save so much time just by, taking an app and letting the computer do it. I got mixed emotions, obviously. Reviewer Fuse says they want to keep it on your file. What are we talking about? I lost the context of this. Scrolling back. Oh, this is about tint still. I still don't have anything. I'm not sure what you mean by they want to keep it on your file. Ethan wants to know about tint limit. So the numbers that you've given, 30 or 70%. So what's the tint limit? Is it 30 or 70? It is 30% blockage, meaning 70% must get through. So both numbers are accurate. Depends on how the tint manufacturer represents the tint. Some tint manufacturers will say 30% tint, and people may think that means 30% light gets through, and others might mean 30% of light being blocked. So it depends on which way they're representing. At the end of the day, anything that is preventing people from seeing inside your car is probably going to get you a ticket. Also, there's two different charges. Anything over 30% light blockage, anything less than 70% light getting through, is illegal, but it's also unsafe, which means police can pull your license plates and to give you a ticket for operating an unsafe vehicle on the road. Now, if you're talking about side of the road with a police officer, the average police officer is just trying to determine if you have blocked or made the inside of your vehicle, you've obscured it from view. So if I can't see inside, if I can't identify whether or not it's a male, a female, a person with a hat, a person with a beard, if I can't see inside, it's just black, it's going to be a ticket for obscuring the interior of your motor vehicle with a color or reflective tint. Simple as that. That's a $110 ticket, way cheaper than getting your plates pulled and having your vehicle deemed unsafe and having to go through a safety process. So I wouldn't go anything over 30% because that's in the realm of getting your plates pulled, but I would be somewhere in the 20% if I just want to be able to have tint that's legal. 20% tint blockage, probably safe. And I've got some videos that I posted when I was a police officer on the traffic services page that actually show you legal versus illegal, where I demoed a tint meter And I think you'll be blown away with how light you have to be legal. Yeah. Petru says it's not against the law, but I don't know what Petru is talking about because they didn't want to spend all the characters to type out the question. What are you talking about? Somebody else is talking about freedom of speech. Don't know what they're talking about. I mean, I know what freedom of speech is, but I don't know the context of what you're commenting on. Oh, Cree says driver is not allowed to pass on a double line. Period. That's not true in Ontario. You can pass on a double line because there's no charge. If you can do it safely and you're not violating any of the other laws, it's not illegal in Ontario to cross a line. However, if you cause problems, you're going to be charged. And other provinces do make it illegal to cross a line. So maybe Cree, if you're in a different province, that's why you're assuming it's illegal. Let's see here. Bert says, are you more likely to give a break to a motorcycle that wear full leather gear than t-shirt and flip-flops? No. It doesn't matter what you wear when you're on a motorcycle. You'll probably hear a lot of lecture from me, or you would have heard a lot of lecture from me if you were wearing flip-flops as a motorcyclist and you were breaking the law. You'd hear a lot of lecture. But if you were wearing all the proper gear, you would probably just get the ticket because I know you were taking your safety in one element of it. There'd be nothing to lecture you on except your behavior, and that's I give you by way of your ticket. So, nobody got breaks from me because of their clothing. Let's see here. Can people be ticketed if they are recorded on video breaking traffic laws? Yes and no, depends sometimes. So if the vehicle is caught driving and the vehicle identifies the driver and the date, time, and location, then yeah, that could be enough to late charges. The only thing that'll happen is the person who recorded the video will need to be able to come in and testify to the fact that that's the video, they're the ones who took it, and so on. Very often what happens is the videos are submitted, and that starts a file. And then that starts an investigation that continues possibly for months until the police just catch the person on their own. But it does start, files. Like police have done stings for people who are doing these 200 kilometer an hour on the roads situations in the vehicles, and they're clearly identifiable, but we know they're doing it regularly. They're posting it on their own social media, and eventually they just get caught because a police officer in an undercover vehicle sits down the street from them and follows them, and then they go do the stupid thing and they get arrested. And they're charged with serious offenses. Okay. Cree says, Ethan, 30% is the legal limit, but drivers are told not to tint windows unless it's factory tint. There's a lot of tint shops. I don't know. Here's the deal. The window tint laws impact the windows left, right of the driver and the windshield. You can't put anything on the windshield, and the windows left and right of the driver are the 30%. But people sometimes will say, give me 30% tint, not realizing that factory tint is already there. So let's say that there was 10% tint already on the window. You put 30% blockage on top of that. You combine that, you're over 30%. And that causes a lot of problems for people. I don't tint windows. I don't know. I mean, I'm an old guy now. I don't care anymore. It's not for looks. I think tint is mostly for looks. Reviewer for you says, thank you for your response, but the Macs, they record it on your file on their computers. What do you mean they record it on your file? They record your name and address? Well, you provided that when you registered your account. So they're just, as far as I know, maybe they're taking a picture of your driver's license to prove that it was you. I don't know. But if you're submitting to it, you're allowing it. Yeah. I don't know what purpose they would have to copy it. But I can't deny or defend. I don't know what they're doing with it. Let's see here. Not a firefighter. 7 minutes left. Do you have any dad jokes? Okay. So earlier we talked about passing emergency vehicles and tow trucks and what the rules of the slow down, move over rule are, the laws. So not a firefighter wanted to talk about that. I wanted to make sure that we got everything. And he says, just wanted to get the awareness out there. People don't slow down. They blast on through, especially in the winter when the road is already bad and it's hard to stop. I think generally speaking, winter driving is a bit of a challenge because people don't realize that it's winter, even though there's 3 inches or 3 feet of snow on. They're just treating it the way they were treating the midsummer drives. You need to change your driving behavior depending on the road conditions. In fact, in winter, if you're doing the speed limit, could be so fast that you're charged with careless driving, because driving at the speed limit is for optimal conditions. And if you're driving at the speed limit in horrible conditions, you could be charged for careless, because it's unsafe to drive at the speed limit based on what's on the road. Okay. Watchdog 5705 says you need to settle a bet. Are electric bikes eligible for HTA tickets? Had a hit and run with one, and I think they're eligible for HTA charges, but a friend is saying only criminal code charges. Uh-huh. So that depends. So let's have a look. I want to look at the wording for fail to remain. Stand by as I scroll through my glossary of stuff and things. Fail to remain. Okay, so where an accident, I wish they would change this. When a collision occurs on a highway, every person in charge of a vehicle or streetcar that is directly or indirectly involved in a collision shall remain. So it says vehicle. They're eligible for fail to remain charges because they're vehicles, just as are bicycles. You are correct if you are the one that is going with it. Now, if the electric vehicle is capable of going over 32 kilometers an hour as an e-bike, or over 24 kilometers an hour as a e-kick scooter, there's additional charges you can lay. But a bicycle, an e-bike, an e-kick scooter, any of these electric vehicles are vehicles. And according to this, it doesn't specify motor vehicle. Thus, fail to remain, no set fine, would be applicable to any of them that fail to remain. So yeah, I think you win. Your friend is wrong. That is good. I like it when a plan comes together. Okay. Feel free to reach out and talk more about it, because I'm curious where it's going. Petru says it's not against the law crossing double solid yellow line. That's correct. It's not against the law in the province of Ontario. It is against the law in other provinces. Hey, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a former police officer. I talk about traffic safety, traffic law, and police stuff all the time. And if you want to know stuff and things, follow the channel, because we do this on a regular basis. Not as much as I used to do it when I was with the Toronto Police, but as much as I can do it now that I'm a former police officer. Hey, Michael, I just saw you pop up as the moderator. Thank you for jumping in. 9 o'clock is a weird time. Is it a better time than 10 o'clock? Is it a better time than 6 p.m.? Let me know what you think. Also, what is your favorite brand of coffee? I said I was going to ask this earlier. I'm drinking a Kirkland brand K-Cup breakfast blend this morning, and it's not really working for the palate. Oddly enough, I usually brew Tim Hortons in the big coffee machine, but I hate the Tim Hortons K-Cups that I have. So I want to know what the best K-Cup or coffee option is for home, but I'm also curious what you like on the road, just because I'm curious. Why can't we drive with spikes on the tires? Like, we're talking like what kind of spikes? Because there could be some big. What kind of spikes are you talking about? You talking about studded tires? There are some studded tires permitted based on, or depending on where you live, but it's not an everywhere thing. Northern Ontario is permissible. I got a video on it. Just check out the video that I posted a couple days ago. Why is there an increase in more collisions on the road than before 2 years ago? I cannot tell you, other than bad driving, lack of, what is it? What is going on above me? I think there's furniture being moved or a vacuum cleaner being dragged. It's very annoying. So what is the deal? The deal is that I think we just have people who aren't following the rules more so than ever before. And the numbers, I think, will continue to rise until people start doing the right thing when they're behind the wheel. I think they need to stop driving on the winter tires that they drove on for 4 years during COVID. We saw a lot of that. So proper tires really help to reduce collisions. Behavior is the number one thing, making good decisions behind the wheel, slowing down. Yeah, big deal. It's a big deal. Makes a big difference. Kat says, thank you. You're welcome, Kat. Peter says, good morning. How you doing, Peter? Let's see here. We got, talked about this already. OV Police says, Sean, how are you, brother? I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. Hope you're doing well, too. One switches lane very close in front of you, slams brakes. I hit the back of the car. Who's at fault? So if you're driving and someone changes lanes, cutting you off and slams on the brake, this is generally an intentional collision. It is at very least a brake check, which is covered under stunt driving, so they're absolutely responsible for that. Here's the problem: prove it. I really hope you have a dash cam. If you don't have a dash cam, get one. You can get them for under $50 on Amazon. You can get high end ones. Like I bought one that was $500 originally. There's units that are $1,000. Like there are some high quality dash cams. I don't want to be in a car that doesn't have one because I want to protect myself and not only my person physically, but I want to protect my insurance rates and having proof as to what actually happened, an independent witness that is free from the baloney story that the other driver is going to tell, who may have intentionally caused it, a collision just to get insurance money, or is just out to lunch. Yeah, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that situation, because if they can't prove it either way, they might just do 50-50. We're just going to write it off as 50-50. You got a video camera saying that this person cut you off and hit the brakes. It's entirely on the other person, and that's a wonderful thing. It is a wonderful thing. Get a dash camera. I like front and back camera. I want the highest quality, but anything is better than nothing, because even a crappy camera will catch that the person cut you off in close proximity to the front of the vehicle. What's this? All right, moving along. 10 seconds. Oh my God, the pressure's on. And Ethan says, Chrismica. Yes, I love Chrismica. Do you know? I wonder where it originated. Was it from the TV show? What was it called? Orange County? Was it? Is that where? That's probably where it made it very popular. How do I get a tint exemption in Ontario? We were talking about this earlier. You cannot. There is no exemption. Can I drive with an Australian license in Ontario? You can as a visitor. You can if you're visiting from Australia. I certainly drove in Australia with a Ontario license. It was quite an adjustment, being on the other side of the road, especially on motorcycle in Australia, because there was nothing to remind you what side you rode to be on. But you can certainly do it. If you've moved here, I don't know if they give you 100% exchange. They do for UK licenses, but I don't know about Australian licenses. If you go to trafficcop.ca, I've got links to a page that explains it more. So there you go. Ken O'Grady. Oh, Ken O'Grady, I did see your email, your message. I sent you a message about a four-wheel rickshaw with pedals. So I'm looking into it. You've got a electric assisted rickshaw. So I don't know where that falls in. If it's low speed vehicle, if it's an e-bike, exactly. I'm looking into it, but I haven't forgotten about you. Okay. Scrolling. I want to see if there's anything huge here that I don't want to miss, because we're at the bottom of the list. So apparently you can get a ticket after the fact if you're caught on dash camera, or if we call in your plate number. Yes, if you witness this is as an emergency operator calling in to report a vehicle that buzzed the tower while you're working. Yeah, absolutely. And school buses, legislation has been changed for school buses. There's automated enforcement available in Ontario now for that. If you blow past a school bus, you could expect a ticket in the mail, different than the ticket you'd get for firefighter or emergency vehicle. Ken O'Grady says, I almost got rear-ended in a parking lot that just put a new stop sign up, tap, tap, tap before stopping. What do you mean? Not following I'm not picking up what you're putting down. Terry DeMonte says, love your account, Sean. Is there a violation for people that stay in the left lane and prevent people from passing? So if you're talking about people who just drive slowly in the left lane, so there's a couple of things. One, unnecessary slow driving could be a charge, depending on the charge, what they're doing. If they're driving below the speed limit, then absolutely unnecessary slow driving. Slower traffic should stay to the right. There's laws there. There's tickets that can be issued for that. At the end of the day, we want people to drive safely. And if you're going to drive the speed limit, you're not actively passing, stay to the right. For the people who are choosing to pass, whether it be legally or illegally in terms of speed, let them do what they have to do in the left lane, and let them do it safely to prevent a catastrophe. They will be dealt with for speeding. It's not your job to block them. Now, if someone were to actively try and prevent someone from passing, different than just hanging out in the left lane, but let's say someone tried to pass you and you accelerated, as seen in the video I posted a couple days ago, in fact, only a week ago, where a minivan accelerated to prevent someone from getting in. That is very active, and that is very stunt. That is stunt driving. So that would qualify for a 14-day vehicle impound, a 30-day driver suspension. 30, did I say that right? 14-day vehicle, about 30-day driving suspension. What do we got here? Oh, I got a buddy of mine asking me if my laser engraver is running. It is running. I'll have to message him after the show. Which is, by the way, now I'm done. It's 10:07. I hope you had a great show. I had a great show. I felt good about it. We'll do this again real soon. I see there's some questions that didn't. It was the OC, Orange County. See, I was right. Waddell Entertainment. Waddell Engineering said so. Yeah, it just sounded like entertainment. So apparently things broke in the chat conversion. So I see a whole bunch of stuff here. I'm just going to scroll through because I saw someone talking about, Petru, who says, we're supposed to have the right to defend our families. It's sad the police, what is this? Encourage that of letting, so are you complaining about the idea of people not getting beaten up for their cars? I'm not saying you can't defend yourself, my friend. You can absolutely defend yourself. The Criminal Code of Canada supports that you can defend yourself. But do you need to, do you think you're going to do well when 6 armed people come into your house that you're going to defend yourself? Even if we were in the States, if they're already in the house and they're pointing barrels at you, do you think that you're going to get your toy out of the thing when you're in the dead of night? Like, get real. Yeah, no. What is this? Ethan says, thank you, Sean. Have a great day. Have a great day, too. Okay, scrolling. So, Toronto Road Cams, how you doing? Oh, yes. John Vince and for coffee and grind it there. I love John Vince. I grew up on John Vince. John Vince Foods, if you're wondering what we're talking about, is off Allen Road in Toronto, close to where Thousand Finch Courthouse used to be, which is where I used to work as a court officer. And they have everything there in bulk. Chocolate in bulk, like broken chocolates. If you don't mind your chocolate not looking perfect, you can get a good deal by buying it there. Okay. Cree's going to move over to Instagram and ask some stuff there. Cool. And then we've got Michael, who wants to know if I've ever seen a Suron or similar e-bike on the road. I have. They're illegal. They are motor vehicles, not e-bikes. Surons do not qualify. They are way too powerful. They're capable of doing 80 to 150 kilometers an hour, from my understanding. I have to look at the stats again, but ridiculously more than the 32 kilometers maximum that are lawful for e-bike regulations in Ontario. So they're not legal. That's the scoop. That is the scoop. What do we got here? I saw that. Oh, thank you very much for the gift, Cree. Not necessary, but I totally appreciate it. I said I was saying goodbye, but then I realized that there was a question that was pinned and I didn't see it. Okay. Bastard sibling. Did I call it the toy out of the thing? Yeah. If we had Castle Law, it wouldn't have to be in the thing to begin with. I don't disagree with you. I'm Texas and Florida all the way when it comes to Castle Law. But that's another story for another day. All right. I am really going this time. There were no dad jokes, so we're not going to read them because, Chase jumped in for a quick second to say super late, but good morrow. Yeah. Tomorrow we'll do a different time. Might connect with Jerry Agar this week. We were chatting last night, and I'm not entirely sure he looks at the wrong time. Yeah, everyone got used to 10 o'clock. I'm trying to figure out the optimal time. I'm not sure we've found it yet. We'll keep trying. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody. We will talk to you real soon. Be well. I don't really have an outro right now, so I'm just playing this one again.